Okay, so are you ready to do this? I'm super excited for this deep dive.
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right, cool. Today we're diving headfirst into all the biggest narratives driving the crypto world.
Sounds good.
It's 2025, things are moving fast. We've got some really interesting expert analysis, market trends, investor sentiment, the whole nine yards. And we want to unpack it all, figure out what's really going on.
Yeah, and, understand where all the excitement is and, frankly, where the money's flowing.
Yeah, exactly. Follow the money, right? But more importantly, understanding these trends can give us like a glimpse into the future of crypto. And hey, maybe even help us spot some opportunities along the way.
Right, for sure. And I think it's all about making those connections, between the trends we're seeing, what the experts are saying, and how investors are actually feeling.
Absolutely. So let's start with something that's been making a lot of noise lately. AI agents and all the infrastructure that makes them work. This is like next level stuff. We're talking about AI that can actually trade tokens for you, market your projects, even develop new crypto projects. It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, and our research actually highlights platforms like Solana and Base as being kind of the hotbeds for this AI development.
Right. What is it about Solana and Base that makes them so attractive for like building these AI-powered crypto tools?
Well, I think both platforms have really focused on, first and foremost, building the infrastructure to support these really complex AI applications. Solana, for example, they're known for their speed, right? High transaction speed, low costs.
Which is huge when you need those AI agents making split-second trading decisions.
Exactly, exactly. And then you've got Base, which has this advantage of being really tightly integrated with Coinbase.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So it's like familiar territory for a lot of developers and investors.
Right, exactly. They feel comfortable there. But it's important to remember that, like any new technology, especially one this powerful, there are risks.
Definitely, definitely. It's like the Wild West out there. A lot of potential, but also a lot of unknowns.
Right. Relying on AI to make decisions in a market as unpredictable as crypto, that definitely comes with inherent risks.
Couldn't agree more. So speaking of new frontiers, let's talk about how crypto is bridging the gap between the digital world and real-world assets. This is a trend I find super fascinating. We're seeing things like real estate, fine art, even debt products being tokenized and put on the blockchain.
It's huge, right? Like, it's taking something that was traditionally illiquid and making it easily tradable.
Exactly. And you highlighted a company called Ondo in your research that's doing some really interesting work in this space. Can you tell us a bit more about what they're up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ondo is basically at the forefront of this tokenization movement, and they're really focusing on institutional grade assets. So think like large scale real estate, debt, and equity products. What makes them really stand out, though, is their emphasis on staying compliant with regulations and building strong partnerships with established financial institutions.
So they're trying to bridge the gap between like traditional finance and the decentralized world of crypto.
Exactly. And that's key for getting wider adoption of these real world assets on the blockchain.
Makes total sense. And the potential here is just massive. Imagine being able to own a fraction of a skyscraper or a famous piece of art all through crypto. It's incredible to think about.
It's truly democratizing investing, right? Giving people access to assets they might never have been able to touch before.
Right. It's so cool. But okay, let's be real. Not all crypto narratives are about sophisticated tech and high finance. Sometimes it's just pure, unadulterated hype. And when we talk about hype, we got to talk about meme coins,
Oh,
right?
yeah, meme coins. Can't escape them.
It's become a cultural phenomenon. We've got communities rallying behind tokens with dog logos and silly internet jokes. I mean, there's a certain charm to it, even if it does seem irrational at times.
Totally. I mean, it's tapping into something very social, right? The power of online communities, viral trends, FOMO, all of that coming together to generate these massive spikes in value in such short periods.
But as your research points out, it's a super high-risk game driven by speculation and sentiment. These meme coins are incredibly volatile. They can shoot to the moon one day and crash back down the next.
Exactly. It's like more akin to gambling than actual investing. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. But it really highlights how important it is to understand what's driving these trends, right? So let's shift gears a bit and talk about a narrative that's all about giving power back to the people. Decentralized finance, or as most folks call it, DeFi.
DeFi, yeah.
At its core, DeFi wants to recreate all those traditional financial services, lending, borrowing, trading, but without the need for banks or any middlemen.
Right, cutting out those intermediaries.
Exactly. And your research shows that there's this big push right now to make DeFi platforms more user-friendly, which seems crucial for getting more people on board, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, historically, user experience has been one of the biggest obstacles for DeFi adoption.
It could be intimidating for sure, lots of technical jargon and complicated interfaces.
For sure. But now we're seeing this surge in platforms that are actually prioritizing intuitive design and making things easier to use.
Like, what kind of things are they doing?
Well, it's everything from just simplifying the interfaces, making them cleaner and easier to understand, to actually providing educational resources right there on the platform.
Ah, so people can actually learn as they go.
Exactly. It's all about making DeFi accessible to anyone, regardless of their technical background. I mean, imagine a world where anyone with an internet connection could access financial services, even if they've been excluded from traditional banking systems.
It's a powerful idea. But of course, security is always a concern, right?
Absolutely, and that's why transparency and user education are so important. People need to understand the risks before diving in.
Totally agree. Now, let's take a step back and look at the infrastructure that powers all of this crypto innovation. And by that, I mean layer 1 and layer 2 solutions. So layer 1 blockchains, like Ethereum, are kind of like the foundation, right? And then you've got layer 2 solutions built on top to make things faster and cheaper.
Right, yeah, like building highways on top of existing loads to improve traffic flow.
Perfect analogy. But what's interesting is that your research shows layer 2 performance has been kind of a mixed bag in terms of profitability, right?
Yeah, it's true. Some projects have struggled to gain traction, while others have seen some really impressive returns.
It's a relatively new space, so I guess some growing pains are to be expected.
Exactly, and I think we're going to see a lot of innovation and evolution in the layer 2 space in the years to come.
Okay, and before we wrap up, we have to talk about GameFi. I mean, who doesn't love the idea of earning crypto while playing games? It's brilliant. I do remember reading, though, that GameFi saw a bit of a dip in returns last year, in 2024. Do you think that trend will continue, or is there still potential for growth?
I think the potential is still there, for sure. We might have seen a slight dip in 2024, but that doesn't mean GameFi is going away.
Why not?
Because I think we're starting to see a shift towards more, sophisticated and immersive blockchain games. Games that are actually fun to play, not just about making money. And as the technology keeps improving and the user experience gets better, I think GameFi is poised to really take off.
I hope you're right, because I love that concept. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Institutional adoption. The big players are starting to enter the crypto space, right? Hedge funds, corporations, they're all taking notice. And we're seeing a growing interest in Bitcoin as a reserve asset, plus the possibility of clearer regulations on the horizon. What do you think all of this means for the future of crypto?
I think institutional adoption is like a huge development for crypto. It brings legitimacy, capital, stability, the whole package.
It's a sign that crypto's going mainstream.
Exactly. And as more institutions get involved, we're going to see more pressure for clear regulations, which will ultimately lead to wider acceptance and adoption of cryptocurrencies.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. AI, real-world assets, meme machines, DeFi, the infrastructure behind it all, GameFi, institutional adoption. It's a lot to take in. As we wrap up, I'm curious, which of these narratives resonated with you the most? And what does the future of crypto look like to you based on everything we've talked about?
That's a tough one. They're all so interconnected, it's hard to pick just one. But I think I'm most drawn to the potential of DeFi, that whole idea of giving financial power back to individuals. And as for the future, well, I think we're just at the beginning of a massive technological revolution. Crypto has the power to reshape not just finance, but art, gaming, governance, so many aspects of our lives.
It's an exciting time to be alive, that's for sure. And to our listeners, I encourage you to keep exploring this world, asking questions, and learning everything you can. The future of crypto is full of possibilities, and who knows what amazing innovations await us just around the corner. Until next time.
See you then.
Bye.
Tai EAEP.